Okay, so we made it to Levanto. Lisa is grabbing the tickets. I think she found some way to buy the tickets online. I hope so, because the line to actually get the tickets was super long. And then I quick ran into town to grab some food for all of our hiking and everything else that we're doing today.
So we just got to the Levanto station and there are a ton of people. There's a long line to get the Cinque Terre card, either the trekking card or the train card. The train card apparently gets you access to the hiking trails as well as the train. Turns out there's a way you can buy your tickets all online. I just did it while I waited in line and it took only about 5 minutes. Beautiful. There's a beach just right outside of the train station. I kind of wish I brought my bathing suit as I usually do on hikes. Dang.
It looks like the first one is 2 hours from Monterosso to Vernazza.
That's what we're doing
3K.
today.
So
we can do it.
let's get started before it gets even hotter.
The upwards part begins.
It's already really, really hot. Man, the stairs are just unrelenting here. Non-stop, it's hot. That guy playing the accordion was really nice. But something about an accordion always reminds me of like a circus. And it's just kind of, it hurts to hear circus music as you're climbing up a hard mountain. Fools climbing up this mountain. You could have taken the train.
It's beautiful though.
It is.
Look at this.
Vernazza is somewhere over that, so we still got a ways to go.
We're almost there.
Okay, so we got some focaccia from Il Basso, and we got a big old jug of water from the co-op right down the street. Let's try this focaccia.
Is that olive?
Yeah.
Oh, my favorite.
So fluffy, so perfect. Thanks for the rec, musubi and shaved ice. We appreciate you.
So good. So good. Doing this hike made me realize how it's been a really, really long time since we've done actual hikes. Probably in a few months from Hawaii. That straight elevation gain, all those steps, real rough.
think we'll take the train this time.
We sat across from a couple on the train and got off both at Corniglia. Then when Josh and I saw the switchbacks up to the actual village, we walked back. The same couple was sitting at the train station. We saw each other, nodded, laughed, pointed to the hill and said, nah.
That last hike was pretty brutal. Knees weak, arms are heavy, mom's spaghetti, the whole thing. We were just waiting here. Don't shake your head at me. So while we're waiting at the train, we got a little bit of time. I figured I'd go over a bit of Cinque Terre's history. And this is definitely history that I already knew before right now and not just something that I just looked up on the internet. So the first written mention of this whole area, Cinque Terre, it wasn't even called that at that time, was around the 11th century, about 1,000 years ago. And basically the only thing written about it from all the way back then was that they had lots of problems with pirates, they had a bunch of natural disasters hit them, and that this place was known for good olives and good wine. And then, like most history books summarized, a couple of hundred years passed, and then the next mention of it is that this area is very beautiful and they have lots of problems with pirates still. So then we're just kind of summarizing history, so I'm going to fast forward another 500 or so years, but I'm sure lots of cool stuff happened, but we're going to pick this up again in the 16th century. Just like that. So then in the 16th century, they started reinforcing all these areas because they kept having these problems with pirates coming in. And so then they started fortifying all these individual hills. You can still see the remnants of it up there today. And they started building these big watchtowers so they could protect these lands from the pirates and from other people coming in and trying to take their stuff and kill their people. So the fortifications worked, but unfortunately, economically, it was still very difficult to live around here just because of the location here. And there's only really one path in and out. And the only way to get from town to town is just by these old goat paths that were made way back in the 11th century. Then fast forward a couple hundred more years, around the 1870s, Italy becomes unified and they start building railways all over the place, including this absolutely insane railway here that goes underneath all of these massive mountains, connects each of these cities to each other, as well as all the way back to Genoa and the mainland and everywhere else. This brought a lot of trade to the area, but still this wasn't particularly popular of an area, certainly not the tourist hotspot that it is now. But then in the 1970s, a couple of travel writers came through here and wrote very romantically about the beauty of Cinque Terre. And after that, this place just exploded. 25 years from then, they were designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and then tourism everywhere. 2.5 million people come here every single year, and now they can charge you 16 euros for the pleasure of walking goat paths that were built in the 11th century that used to just be there just to connect towns. That's how tourism works, right?
So we decided to go all the way to the end of the line to Riomaggiore in hopes that on the way back it'll be less crowded. Unlikely, but here we go.
Whoa! Whoa! Almost here.
If you're wondering where the best spot to hang out at Riomaggiore, it's definitely here on the rocks. Just keep following the path up and climb down the stairs, or just do a little climbing over the rocks. People jumping in the water, people floating, and you get the best view of the houses up above.
I think we figured out where all the people who weren't in Rome and weren't in Florence and weren't in Venice are, and all of them are in Cinque Terre. This is the busiest place we've been in Italy this entire time, and it's a Monday.
I've wanted to come here since high school. This is so cool.
I'm gonna come.
It's so beautiful.
The Cliffs of Insanity! Okay, so I think that a day trip to Cinque Terre from Genoa is totally possible, and not just totally possible, but I think it's the best city nearby to do it from. I think if we had to do it again, we probably wouldn't do the hike between Monterosso and Vernazza. There were so many people doing it that it just felt like we were kind of on an escalator with people constantly trying to like push us to go faster from behind, and then other people coming the other direction, and the path is really small.
It's definitely a beautiful hike, especially as you get into Vernazza. But we've heard that for those of you that aren't able to hike or not wanting to hike as much, you can just take a train to Vernazza and climb up a few stairs for about 10 minutes and you get that same view without having to do the entire hike.
Honestly, after we were done with that first hike that took us 2.5 hours, we were just beat. And then the rest of the day we were just kind of sluggishly.
I do think if we had done things differently, we would have picked a place that we could have just hung out for the rest of the day, packed a swimsuit. Remember, bring a swimsuit. Packed a picnic and just hung out by the water.
So that's it. We are super tired from this day. The day trip back and forth, it takes a bit out of you going to Cinque Terre, especially with that big hike in the middle. I think we're just going to chill out for the rest of the night. We'll see you guys in the morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Granola and yogurt.
Famous breakfast of Lisa and Josh. Now dig it. So what am I trying to say?
Wait for that.
Gonna edit that out.
No, come on, gotta leave that in.
Go.
Am I the most backlit human of all time, or
No,
does it look alright?
You're good.
What else was I gonna say? All their good olive.
All hail Josh. His monologue. Everyone must be silent. Silencio. Each of the five villages has Hi, kitty. What do you got to tell us? So many things to say.